Right before I moved in here, I spent 3 years in a small motorhome traveling around the country.
Wow.
And so I've seen a lot of nature. That's been my most recent. I have been a camper for a number of years, but really that only started probably in my early 30s. And growing up, my family didn't do that sort of thing. But I always liked being outside, and I think probably for people our age, we probably spent a lot more time outside than maybe some of the kids
younger generation
do now. You know, we were out from morning till dusk every day, all day, finding something to do, you know, even if we didn't have bikes to ride or whatever, but it was being outside. And I guess my earliest memory of something other than just playing outside would be, I used to, gosh, it must have been first or second grade. I used to take the shortcut home, which wasn't a shortcut at all because it was 6 blocks from my elementary school to my house, a direct straight shot. And I would come home late and my mother would say, "Where have you been?" And I'd say, "I took a shortcut." Well, the shortcut went by the creek. And of course, she didn't like that very much because she was afraid it was going to fall in the creek and drown or whatever, you know how mothers are.
Yeah.
And so I always got in trouble for taking the shortcut home, but I loved going down to the water. And I guess for years I liked being around water, flowing water, swimming pool water, and then all of a sudden now I don't care much for being around the water anymore. It's not a big deal. You know, the beach is not the place I want to be. I'd much rather be out in the woods or, you know, hiking. On a home trip, I ended up in Seattle for a while, and one of the things that I was doing as I was on the road, rather than hopping around from place to place and seeing how many places I could see in a day, and you know, I would want to go and kind of settle in and meet some people and feel like I was part of the community. So I would try to spend a month at one place. So while I was in Seattle, I hooked into a really great women's group, and we had, you know, potluck and that kind of thing. And I put my name on the listserv, and one day I got a message, or we all got a message from this woman from Olympia who was looking for someone to share her cabin on a cruise to Alaska for $399 for a week. I said,
you just randomly found that? That's incredible. Yeah.
So I got to go on this great cruise and, you know, see wonderful nature stuff up in Alaska. Well, you know, I've lived in Nashville for 15 years. One of the reasons I decided to do the motorhome is because it was, you know, I had been here 13 years or 12, whatever it was, and I had never lived anywhere that long before in my entire life, not in one town. And I was just getting the itchy feet, you know, well, I wonder what's over there, you know. So I sold my house, my car, everything, and bought this little motorhome. And, you know, just decided that I was going to do it for at least 3 years, and I did. And you know what happened? I'd probably still be out there if I'd had somebody to go with me. I've lived alone for a long time, but I never realized how lonely I could get being away from people that I knew that I could just call up and say, "Hey, you want to go to a movie?" or whatever. You know, you get out on the road and there's these wonderful sights, and you just want somebody to share it with. Yeah, it's like, "Hey, look, strange person, you know, this is great," and they're going, why are you talking to me?
Yeah,
you know, and you just
I could see that.
Really, it just became. I mean, I actually, when I was leaving Seattle, and I went down to Portland, then I went over to Bend, Oregon to see my niece. And on the way from Bend to, I was going to be staying a month in Northern California with the sister of a friend here from Asheville. And I drove right by Crater Lake, and I just didn't even stop. I mean, it's one of the great wonders of the area, and I just I don't feel like seeing another site by myself. I have been to Devil's Tower and Mount Rushmore and, you know, all these great places, Seattle. I mean, of course, you know, there were people in Seattle, but I just, you know, I just decided that one of the reasons I went also was to see if there was any place out there as great as Asheville. And there isn't. So I came back.